Something about slope. What was it, Jason? You said it was what? Rise over run. Okay, that's the first thing. Right, we got a lot of definitions of this. Rise over run's a good way to start. As we are talking about a linear function for the most part. Okay? But you guys were a step ahead a second ago. So something else about slope. Okay, so it does involve x and y. Okay, so there is a formula. This is also known, there's a letter this is known as. What is it?
Oh, I remember.
What is it?
Oh, you want me to say it?
If you know it.
Y equals mx plus.
Well, that's not, I'm just talking about slope though. We'll get there here in a second.
Oh, is it like one of the letters out of what she just said?
Yeah, right.
Is it like M?
M, okay, so I don't know why, but slope is known as M. Okay? Now there is a formula for slope if you're given two coordinates. What is that formula? It has to do with what Jason said a second ago, rise over run.
36.
Is it like y1 and like subtract?
Oh, yeah,
y2.
Okay.
And then x maybe?
All right, so they usually write like this, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? Because this is the change in the y values over the change in the x values. Okay? So that's pretty good. Another thing you want to know this as is anything that's talking about the average rate of change. And you guys that were saying y equals mx plus b, that's slope-intercept form. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. But whenever you're asked to deal with any kind of straight line, any linear function, the very first thing you need to worry about is slope. And that's why we start with it. Okay, we're going to spend a lot of time on lines. That's a big part of the prerequisite for Algebra 2. So we want to definitely make sure we get this. We'll be doing these for a while. Okay, so if you're given two coordinates and you're asked to find the slope, or if you're asked to find the equation of the line through these two coordinates, the very first thing you should do is find the slope. Okay, and so we're going to use this little formula. Okay, this is an x, and this is a y, and this is an x, and this is a y. It doesn't matter which one you start with as long as you stay consistent. That's what the y2 and the x2 mean. They got to come from the same point. So if we're doing this problem, m is going to equal what's going to be in the numerator? All right, so just be careful because it's 2 minus a negative 1. Right, and then so she started right with this one over here. So now you have to use the 4. Good. So then it's going to be 4 minus 8. And now you got to simplify everything. So what's the numerator?
3.
All right, 2 minus a negative 1 is 3 over,
4,
so negative 4, okay? So that's good enough. You can leave it like that. You know, this is a negative slope, so you can put it out front if you want. If you pick the other point first, your negative would be up with the 3. Okay, so either way, this slope is going to be a negative 3/4. So always make sure you reduce these. Is that okay? Because your lines are going to come in a couple different ways. There's like 4 different ways a line can look, right?
Yeah.
So if it looks like that, is that what kind of slope is that? All right, so this is a positive slope. Okay, good. We got to make sure we know that. Positive slope. Okay, so then if it was going the other way, what is it? Okay, negative slope. There's only 2 other options. What would they be? Okay, the suspense is killing me. No. It's either going to look like this, hello? Or like this. One of these is a 0 slope and one of them is an undefined slope. Okay. Yeah, but he's not here. Yeah. That's okay. All right, which one of these is 0 slope and which one is undefined?
0 slope is 4. 4 is all right.
Okay, yeah. So this is a 0 slope. Good. And that means this one is undefined. 'Is that okay? Alright, so we had to get that out of the way. I hope that makes you guys feel good. Okay, so we need to find the slope of this line given this graph. Jason said at one point it was rise over run. Remember that? Okay, so that means the y's come first. Can someone explain how we find this slope?
Pick a point.
Pick a point. Okay, that's a good place to start. Can I pick this point right here?
Yeah. No,
Why not?
because you can't, like, it would just be 0.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. It could be 0. What's wrong with 0?
But then, like, if you do, like, the other point, if you do, like, the top one, then it would be, like, 4 over 2.
So what's the problem with that?
But then, like, and then.
Okay, so firstly, you do not have to use the formula right now.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're just going to do this off the graph. Secondly, you have to find a point that you can tell where it is. So we can tell this one, but like we can't tell any of these. See how, I mean, they're not really,
Yeah.
you can't guess on this stuff. But you can pick this one, you can pick this one, and you can pick this one, and this one, and this one. So any of these 5 are fine. That's right, yeah, because otherwise you're just guessing. Okay, so that's the very first important part, okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
So, you know how sometimes on a computer, it can look like it's hitting?
Yeah, you better make sure.
So if it's like even a little bit off?
Then that's
it'll
not
ruin
it.
your-
That's right. That's
See,
right.
this problem just asked me what slope was, but it didn't have any, like, points. It just had,
Oh,
like,
well, you gotta go find it. All right, here's the other thing that I want to point out. Do you see how these scales are the same? Okay, so then it doesn't matter what the scale is. You can just count up and over. Okay, so you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Oh, how many is this? Right? It's just up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and then it'll work out. Okay, so that's important to understand also, because you got to reduce this anyway. So since Lindsay picked 0, 0, even though she didn't really want to, can I just pick that one as my next one? Is that okay with everybody? Or do you want to go all the way up to this top one? Okay, fine. It doesn't make any difference. But we're going to do rise over run. So we go up rise. How far up did we go? 4. And then we go over 2. So then what's the slope? 4 over 2. Can that be reduced?
1.
What is it?
1.
It's 4 divided by 2.
Well, then it would be 2 over 2.
No, it'd be 2 over 1.
Oh, 2 over 1.
No. Okay, but, if we did it down here instead, right, if we went up and over, we better get the same thing, right? So it's up 1, 2, 3, 4, then over 1, 2. Hey, it's the same. Okay, because our scale on the x and y are the same.
Now, on con, they changed it to a mixed fraction.
But they changed, not on these, they didn't change it. Oh, well, you might get an improper, so you should put an improper fraction.
But their answers were a mixed fraction, so we
Well, that's
want to
fine.
leave them.
Improper
We
fraction.
want to leave them improper for us, right?
Right, because you guys are going to have to graph on these, so you want an up and an over. It's too hard to think about improper fractions.
Right.
Is that okay?